The Magician, Fake and Enter by Rachel Lawson. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our show," said a voice that came from the stage of a small theater. "He's throwing his voice or using a microphone," muttered a bearded man with an Italian accent. On the stage appeared the owner of the voice. "He is using a trapdoor," the Italian muttered. "I am Blake Fire," said the clean-shaven Australian magician. Another magician appeared on stage in flames. He looked like a cross between a vampire and a magician. "Trapdoor and pyrotechnics," said the Italian. "And I am Max Starfire," said the vampire. "My assistant," said the first magician. The second sneered and snapped, "I'm your partner, Grandad." Max was the husband of Blake's granddaughter. He was older than he looked. "Max," snapped back Blake as he beckoned Max to come over to him. Blake removed his own top hat in a flourish. Max pulled a rabbit out of the hat, then opened the rabbit's mouth. Blake's eyes widened in horror and he screamed, "No!" Max pulled a hat out of the rabbit's mouth. It killed the rabbit. Blake, who was covered in rabbit blood, screamed, "Not again! Bring down the curtains. The show's over." "How did they do that?" the Italian asked. Soon after, the Italian went to the theater's back door to meet the magicians. He wasn't alone, the fans and autograph hunters were there too. "Mr. Alexander, how did you do the trick with the rabbit?" asked the Italian when Blake walked out of the stage door. Blake was shaken. "I am sorry if it distressed you. I've told him 1,000 times not to try to pull a hat from a rabbit. It only ever ends up with people trying to ban our show again," Blake said. "But how did you do it?" asked the Italian. "A magician never reveals his secrets," said Blake reflexly. "I'm a magician. I'm the great Fonini," said the Italian, pronouncing his name as Fonini. "Ah, serious, you are the great Fonini?" said Blake. "Yes, I am Fabio Fonini, master magician and fraud debunker," said Fonini, pulling out a business card, giving it to Blake. Blake read it. "Oh, you are the great Fonini," said Blake, recognizing his name. He was known as the Italian Houdini. Houdini found fakes and knew all tricks. "Tell me how you did the trick," Fonini said. "It was just magic," said Blake offhandedly. "Tell me, I have to know," said Fonini, desperate to know. "Magic," said Blake. "Here, have a signed copy of Blake's book," said Max, walking out the door, handing everyone including Blake a copy of Blake's autobiography. "Max, I didn't sign them," said Blake, frowning, "and I haven't written any books either. So sue me. Your son Tempus ghostwrote and I enchanted them to have your signature," said Max, laughing, seeing how angry it made his friend. "Thank you for the book," said Fonini, not understanding anything he heard. "Tell me how you did it," asked Fonini. "It wasn't me," said Blake, being led off by Max. As anyone would who was curious about something, Fonini read Blake's book. In it, he read that Blake devised his magic act in his office in his backyard. Fonini knew there was no way to get Blake to tell him how the trick was done, so he thought he'd break into the office and find his papers where he worked out the act, and he could read them. Fonini followed Blake home and snuck into the backyard of the home Blake and his wife shared. It was the most ethereal place that Fonini ever saw, and it was larger than it seemed. It made him want to move on and on to the small castle. In the back of it he found an old wooden door, and he entered the door cautiously, making sure he was not seen. He found a large dingy Gothic office complex with many doors and tables with papers and quills sitting in bottles of black ink. Fonini knew he shouldn't be there, yet he knew he had to know the place's purpose and why Blake had a large office complex in his backyard. He wandered around the building for a while till he heard a voice calling for help in a closed room. He thought it was a joke because it sounded like they were stuck in a dark room they could not leave. It was too cheesy. He thought the magician had caught him. Fonini opened the door and fainted, and when he came around, a ghost was asking him if he was all right. Fonini turned whiter than the ghost. The Italian ran down the corridor, being followed by the ghost asking him why he was running. He ran for what seemed ages and ran into the oddest thing which did not seem out of place. It was a man of flesh and bone. The man fell over. The momentum of Fognini's running was so strong. "Who are you?" asked the man, standing up. "He is the great Fognini." A voice behind him said it was not the ghost. Fognini turned to face the voice's owner to see something worse than a ghost. It was a grim reaper. "Oh my God. I am sorry I broke in and set the ghost free," said the whimpering Italian, crawling on the floor. The ghost started insulting him. The reaper turned abruptly to the ghost. "Settle down, Freddy, he's scared," said the reaper. "Why is he here?" the man asked. "I think he wants to know how Max pulled a hat out of a rabbit. He thought it was part of the act," said the reaper. "Oh no, did he try that again?" said the man. "Yes, necromancer, he did," said the reaper to his son. Fognini put two and two together and realized the man was the noted serial killer known as the necromancer. He was in more danger. He didn't know who was worse, the ghost, the reaper, or the serial killer. He crawled to an open door to escape. A bony hand clasped his wrist and dragged him to his feet. "And may I ask, what is this?" the hand's owner said, shaking Fognini's wrist. "Let him go, Dante. He's just a scared fan of Dad's magic show," said the necromancer. "What is he doing in the afterlife? He's not dead," said Dante, releasing Fognini's wrist. The first reaper looked like he was frowning in his attitude, but he had no eyes. "He asked me how Max pulled a hat out of a rabbit. I couldn't tell him how it was done, so he seems to have decided to ransack my magic act notes to find out how we did the trick," said Blake. "You are Blake Alexander?" said Fognini. "Are you surprised to find me lurking in my own office?" said the reaper, Blake, quizzically. "No, just I wasn't expecting this den of monsters," said Fognini. "You stumbled upon the anteroom of the afterlife. The monsters aren't monsters, not all of us," said the reaper, Blake. "Hey!" snapped the necromancer, sensing another jab at him. "What?" said the reaper, Blake, who smiled at getting a rise from his son again. "Freddy's harmless as a kitty cat, he's just claustrophobic," said the reaper, Blake. "Only problem here is Dante. It looks like I'm in for some more paperwork because you broke in." "You are right there," said Dante. "What will we do with the phony then?" said the necromancer. "Lance, you guide him out of the building and back to the street through the enchanted garden. He will only come back here if he's unaccompanied. In the garden I enchanted, so anyone who strays there from here comes back. I didn't expect people would want to break into the afterlife," the reaper, Blake, said. The necromancer led Fognini to the street after saying thank you to Blake for being understanding and goodbye to them. Freddy was judged and put in a big room, while Blake returned to his office with a new pile of paper to sign, to his great annoyance.